Chosen ones, be careful, God is warning you about a man. Beloved, listen with a trembling yet hopeful heart, because what you are about to hear carries protection that can save you from silent pain and hidden traps that you did not see forming around your life. There is a reason your spirit has felt uneasy, a reason your peace has been disturbed when certain footsteps draw near, and this warning is not meant to frighten you, but to shield you from a wound that could slow your destiny. I am speaking now because delay could cost you clarity, and clarity is the very thing that will guard your calling and preserve your joy. Type Amen if you believe. There is a man whose presence seems harmless, whose words sound smooth and kind, yet beneath the surface there is confusion, instability, and a heart not aligned with the path I have prepared for you. This is not about hatred or revenge, nor is it about judging another soul, but it is about discernment that keeps your spirit clean and your future steady. You are chosen, and because you are chosen, the enemy will sometimes send distraction dressed as affection and attachment disguised as destiny. If this touches your spirit and you desire divine protection over your relationships, gently press the like button now as a sign that you welcome heaven's covering over your life. I see what you cannot see, and I know what you have not yet discovered, and my warning comes wrapped in love, because I would never allow harm without first offering guidance. This man carries unresolved storms within him, storms that could spill into your peace and cause you to carry burdens that were never assigned to your shoulders. You have worked too hard to heal, too hard to rise above past disappointments, and too hard to trust again after betrayal that once broke your confidence. I am protecting the progress you have made, because your heart is sacred and your calling is greater than temporary attention. You may feel drawn to him because he mirrors your pain, or because he speaks in ways that sound understanding and gentle, yet shared wounds do not always create healthy unions. Sometimes brokenness recognizes brokenness, and what feels like deep connection is simply two unhealed places, leaning on each other without strength. I am not condemning him, because I love him too, but I am guarding you because your assignment requires stability and spiritual maturity. You cannot afford to tie your future to someone who refuses to confront his own shadows. The warning is simple but powerful, and it asks you to slow down your emotions and listen to the quiet voice within that has been whispering caution. There have been small signs, moments when his words did not align with his actions, moments when promises felt empty, and moments when your spirit felt heavy after conversations that should have brought light. Those gentle signals were not random feelings, but protective nudges placed inside you by my spirit. I speak softly before danger grows loudly, and I correct gently before pain becomes deep. You are not responsible for saving him, fixing him, or carrying the weight of his inner battles while neglecting your own healing journey. Compassion is beautiful, but attachment without wisdom can drain your strength and cloud your purpose. You are stepping into a season where clarity must lead you more than emotion, and obedience must guide you more than desire. I am shaping your future carefully, and every relationship must align with the peace I have planted in your soul. There is a difference between love and assignment, and not every person who feels intense is meant to stay permanent. Some people arrive as lessons, revealing areas where you still need boundaries, patience, or stronger trust in my direction. This man may represent a test of your discernment, a reminder that not every open door is an invitation from heaven. When you feel rushed, pressured, or emotionally overwhelmed, step back and allow peace to return before making any decision. A concealed brainwave once stored in classified files is said to ignite strong prosperity. In just 7 minutes, you can unlock the switch in your mind that draws abundance like a magnet. Click the link in the video description and comments below to activate your hidden wealth wave right now. Your value does not decrease because you choose distance, and your kindness does not fade because you protect your heart from confusion. Strength is sometimes quiet separation, and faith is sometimes walking away before attachment turns into regret. I am teaching you that obedience can look like restraint, and maturity can look like waiting. There is someone aligned with your destiny, someone who carries stability, honor, and spiritual depth that will not compete with your calling. Until that alignment appears clearly and peacefully, remain watchful and anchored in prayer, because your future is too precious to gamble on uncertainty. I am leading you away from unnecessary heartbreak and toward relationships that nourish your faith instead of weakening it. You are not alone in this decision, and you are not imagining the discomfort that rises in your spirit. Type 1111 if you trust God. Hold tightly to the calm assurance that my warning is not punishment but protection, and my caution is not limitation but love surrounding you like a shield. I am guiding your steps with patience and wisdom, ensuring that what enters your life strengthens your faith and honors the path I have designed for you. The man I warned you about is not evil in the way you might imagine, yet he is unstable in ways that could quietly disrupt the peace I am building within you. His inconsistency is not always loud or dramatic, but it shows itself in subtle patterns that slowly erode trust and drain emotional strength. You have noticed moments when his attention felt intense and consuming, followed by periods of distance that left you questioning your own worth and clarity. This pattern is not love rooted in stability, but attachment driven by unresolved emptiness that he has not yet faced within himself. When someone seeks comfort from you without offering emotional safety in return, the connection becomes imbalanced and exhausting. I desire balance for you, because balanced love reflects respect, patience, and responsibility rather than confusion and unpredictability. There are hidden wounds inside him that he tries to soothe through admiration, affection, or dependency. Yet healing cannot come through another person's presence alone. Only transformation through surrender and accountability can stabilize a restless heart, and he has not yet chosen that deeper path of growth. If you attempt to become his rescue while neglecting your own spiritual focus, you will slowly lose energy that was meant for your calling and purpose. I am preventing that loss before it takes root, because you are not designed to carry someone else's unfinished healing. Your spirit has felt moments of heaviness after certain conversations, even when the words sounded caring and gentle on the surface. That heaviness is not random emotion, but quiet discernment alerting you to misalignment between what is spoken and what is lived. Alignment brings peace that remains steady even when circumstances are uncertain, while misalignment creates tension that lingers beneath pleasant expressions. I want you to trust the calm voice inside you more than flattering language that feels exciting but unstable. Type 2020. The path ahead for you requires emotional strength and clarity that will not crumble under pressure or manipulation. This man may not intend harm consciously, yet his unresolved fears could lead him to control, guilt, or subtly influence your decisions in ways that limit your freedom. Control often disguises itself as deep affection, and possessiveness sometimes hides behind intense devotion that feels passionate at first. I am revealing this pattern before it grows stronger, because once attachment deepens, it becomes harder to separate truth from emotional dependency. You deserve a love that supports your independence, not one that fears your growth or competes with your purpose. A healthy man celebrates your calling rather than feeling threatened by your strength and spiritual maturity. When someone becomes uncomfortable with your closeness to me, or tries to redirect your focus away from your faith, that discomfort reveals insecurity rather than compatibility. I will never send someone into your life who attempts to weaken your spiritual foundation, because your relationship with me is the source of your stability. There may be moments when loneliness whispers that imperfect companionship is better than waiting in patience, yet that whisper does not come from my heart for you. Waiting with peace is far safer than rushing into attachment that slowly steals your joy and confidence. Loneliness can be healed by my presence, but regret caused by ignoring warning signs can take longer to untangle. I would rather you walk through a temporary season of solitude than endure years of confusion tied to the wrong partner. Remember that your value is not measured by who chooses you, but by the purpose I placed within you long before anyone noticed your beauty or kindness. You were chosen by me before you were admired by any human voice, and that truth must anchor you more than attention ever could. When someone seems captivated by you, pause and observe whether his actions reflect integrity and consistency over time. True character reveals itself in patterns, not in charming moments or emotional promises. The man I am warning you about struggles with commitment to growth, and without growth there can be no lasting stability in partnership. He may speak about change, and he may even desire it in moments of inspiration, yet desire without discipline rarely produces transformation. You cannot build a secure future on potential alone, because potential without action becomes a repeating cycle of hope and disappointment. I am guarding you from building dreams on unstable ground. Your destiny is not fragile, but it is precious, and precious things require careful boundaries to remain protected. Boundaries are not walls of rejection, but lines of wisdom that keep peace intact and prevent emotional harm. When you sense confusion rising in your spirit, allow yourself to step back without guilt or fear of losing something meant for you. What is truly aligned with your life will never require you to sacrifice discernment in order to keep it. There is someone prepared for you who carries steadiness in his character and humility in his spirit, and he will not arrive with chaos disguised as passion. His presence will bring calm, assurance, rather than restless uncertainty, and his words will consistently align with his actions over time. You will not feel pressured to prove your worth, nor will you feel anxious about where you stand in his heart. I am shaping that connection carefully, and it will not compete with your peace. Type yes. Continue walking closely with me, because closeness to my guidance sharpens your ability to recognize misalignment before it becomes entanglement. Each time you choose obedience over emotion, you strengthen your spiritual maturity and deepen your trust in my direction. I am not removing something good from you, but redirecting you away from something that would eventually burden your spirit. Gratitude will one day replace the confusion you feel now, because you will see how this caution preserved your joy. Deep within your brain is a small area tied to wealth and success, once hidden in restricted studies and classified documents. This newly uncovered frequency is helping people exchange financial stress for ease, and God has led you to see this message at this very moment. Click the link in the description and comments to activate this hidden brainwave now. Do not fear missing out, because nothing destined for you can be stolen by distance or delayed by wisdom. If he is not meant for your future, stepping away will reveal that truth clearly and peacefully over time. If he chooses growth independently and aligns with integrity later, I will make that path evident without confusion or pressure. Until then, guard your heart gently and remain anchored in the assurance that my love for you is steady and protective. You are not walking alone through this decision, and you are not responsible for carrying emotional burdens that do not belong to you. I am your defender, your guide, and your source of wisdom when feelings attempt to cloud your clarity. Beloved, as you continue forward, understand that this warning is also shaping your inner strength and refining your spiritual eyesight in ways that will bless you far beyond this single relationship. You are learning to recognize patterns rather than isolated moments, and this wisdom will protect you, not only now, but in every season that follows. The man I spoke of carries a habit of presenting intensity as commitment, yet intensity fades quickly when responsibility is required. I am teaching you to look beyond emotion and observe whether consistency stands firm when circumstances grow difficult or inconvenient. There are signs you have quietly noticed but tried to excuse because your heart hoped for something beautiful to grow from this connection. He sometimes avoids accountability, shifting blame gently onto situations or even onto you when tension arises, and this pattern reveals immaturity that could grow heavier over time. Accountability is a cornerstone of healthy love, because without it there can be no true trust or long-term stability. I am uncovering this now, so you will not ignore it later when consequences become harder to escape. He may admire your strength and feel inspired by your faith, yet admiration is not the same as partnership rooted in equal responsibility and shared vision. When someone sees your light but does not actively build his own, imbalance slowly forms and creates emotional strain. You were not created to shrink your growth in order to keep someone comfortable, nor were you called to dim your devotion to protect another person's insecurity. I desire for you a union where both hearts grow toward me together, not one where you carry the weight of spiritual leadership alone. Type 1212. Pay attention to how your body feels in his presence, because I often speak through subtle discomfort that words cannot easily explain. When you sense tension in your chest or unease in your thoughts after conversations, that is not weakness, but discernment, quietly alerting you. Peace should not disappear every time communication becomes complicated or emotionally charged. The right connection will not leave you constantly analyzing what was said or wondering whether affection will suddenly withdraw. This man struggles with fear of abandonment, and that fear may cause him to hold tightly in ways that feel flattering at first, but eventually become restrictive. Fear-based attachment creates cycles of closeness and distance that leave you emotionally unsettled and spiritually distracted. I am protecting your freedom because your calling requires clear focus and emotional stability. When attachment is driven by fear rather than security, it often leads to subtle control disguised as devotion. You are entering a season where your confidence must grow stronger than your need for validation. Validation from another human heart can feel warm and reassuring, yet it must never replace the deep assurance that comes from knowing you are chosen and cherished by me. When someone praises you excessively but becomes uncomfortable when you set boundaries, that imbalance reveals that admiration may be self-serving rather than sacrificial. True love respects boundaries and does not resent them. The man I am warning you about may also struggle with honesty in small matters, not necessarily through blatant lies but through selective truth that shapes reality to his advantage. Small inconsistencies often become larger deceptions if left unaddressed, and trust weakens each time clarity is sacrificed for convenience. I am revealing these patterns before they entangle your heart more deeply. Transparency is essential in relationships that reflect my character of truth and light. There may be moments when he expresses vulnerability that softens your resolve and awakens compassion within you. Compassion is beautiful and holy, yet compassion must walk alongside wisdom, or it will lead you into emotional exhaustion. You cannot heal someone who refuses to commit to his own transformation, no matter how sincere his tears may appear. Healing requires personal surrender and steady action, not temporary emotions stirred by fear of losing you. Type 1919. You have been praying for clarity, and clarity sometimes arrives as gentle caution rather than dramatic revelation. I do not always shout warnings through obvious events, because I prefer to strengthen your discernment through quiet awareness and spiritual sensitivity. The fact that you feel uncertain despite his charm is not coincidence but guidance. When peace is missing, pay attention, because I am the author of peace, and I do not hide it from you without reason. Your future partnership will not demand that you constantly prove your loyalty or reassure someone who doubts your faithfulness without cause. In a healthy bond, trust grows steadily and does not require constant emotional negotiation. The right man will approach you with patience, respect, and a willingness to grow in character rather than relying on emotional intensity alone. Stability will define him more than charm, and humility will anchor him more than pride. You may wonder why this lesson feels so personal and deeply emotional, and it is because relationships shape your spiritual health in profound ways. When you align yourself with someone unstable, your thoughts can become clouded and your prayer life distracted by confusion. I am guarding not only your heart but your spiritual focus, because your connection with me must remain strong and undisturbed. Emotional chaos can slowly weaken devotion if left unchecked. A 7-second brainwave approach, previously limited to elite groups and stored in classified files, is now available to everyone, and many call it the 30-second miracle. Researchers claim it stimulates a dormant brain center associated with prosperity and blessings. Click the link in the comments below before it is removed from the internet again. This season is about strengthening your boundaries and deepening your trust in my timing, rather than rushing toward companionship out of fear of missing love. Nothing that belongs to you will pass you by because of patience, and nothing meant for you will require you to ignore warning signs in order to keep it. If he withdraws when you enforce boundaries, that withdrawal will confirm what your spirit already sensed. If he chooses growth independently, his transformation will be evident through consistent action rather than persuasive words. Continue nurturing your relationship with me through quiet reflection and sincere prayer, because intimacy with me sharpens your awareness and anchors your heart. The closer you remain to my guidance, the easier it becomes to distinguish between temporary attraction and lasting alignment. I am not depriving you of happiness, but steering you toward a love that reflects my faithfulness and steadiness. Trust that obedience now will blossom into peace later. You are strong enough to walk away from confusion, and you are worthy of a relationship that strengthens rather than drains your spirit. Hold your head high, and remember that discernment is a gift, not a burden. I am walking beside you, illuminating your path step by step, ensuring that what enters your life builds your faith and protects your calling. The man I warned you about carries unresolved pride that hides beneath moments of humility, and pride that is unhealed often resists correction and avoids deep change. If you bind yourself to someone who cannot accept guidance, you will eventually feel alone even while standing beside him. Pride does not always look loud or arrogant, and sometimes it appears as subtle defensiveness when accountability is required. When gentle feedback feels like an attack to him, or when honest conversation turns into emotional withdrawal, these are signs of inner insecurity guarding itself. You deserve open communication that brings clarity rather than confusion, and safety rather than tension. I am protecting you from cycles where simple discussions become exhausting battles that leave your heart drained. There is also a pattern of inconsistency in his ambitions, because he dreams passionately, yet struggles with discipline when responsibility demands effort. Dreams without structure can feel inspiring at first, yet they create instability when real life requires commitment and sacrifice. You are entering a season where your life is becoming more focused and purposeful, and instability around you will only slow your growth. I am aligning you with environments that strengthen your discipline, not ones that normalize distraction. Type 2323. This man may also struggle with jealousy that he tries to disguise as protectiveness, and jealousy born from insecurity can slowly limit your freedom and isolate you from healthy support systems. You were not created to shrink your world to comfort someone else's fear, nor to silence your achievements to protect fragile ego. Healthy love celebrates growth and encourages connection with community, rather than creating walls around you. I desire for you a relationship that expands your world instead of narrowing it. You have sensed moments when he subtly questions your choices, your friendships, or even your dedication to your spiritual walk, and those questions plant seeds of doubt inside your mind. Doubt that grows without challenge can eventually weaken your confidence and distance you from the clarity I am giving you. I do not want you second-guessing your obedience because someone else feels threatened by your devotion. Your faith must remain the center of your life, and anyone who stands beside you must honor that center with respect. The warning I give you is not about condemning him as unworthy of love, because every soul is precious to me and capable of change. However, timing matters, and alignment matters, and you cannot tie your destiny to someone who is not yet stable in his own foundation. Growth cannot be forced by proximity, and transformation cannot be rushed by attachment. If he is meant to grow, he must choose that path independently, not because he fears losing you. There may be tender moments when his vulnerability touches your heart deeply, and you feel compassion rising within you like a strong tide. Compassion is beautiful, yet you must remember that partnership requires strength on both sides, not one heart constantly carrying the other. When compassion turns into rescue, imbalance forms, and resentment can slowly grow in silence. I am guarding you from a future where you feel responsible for someone else's emotional survival. Type 666. You have prayed for a relationship that reflects my character of patience, honesty, and steadiness, and I take those prayers seriously. The man prepared for you will not create emotional storms that leave you questioning your worth or doubting your discernment. His presence will feel safe and calm, even when life becomes challenging, because his foundation will be built on maturity and faith. You will not feel anxious about whether he will remain consistent, because his actions will speak clearly without constant reassurance. Right now, your obedience in small choices is shaping the kind of future you will experience. Each time you choose to pause rather than rush, to observe rather than assume, and to pray rather than react emotionally, you strengthen your spiritual muscles. I am building resilience within you so that future blessings can rest securely on your shoulders. Blessings require preparation, and preparation sometimes looks like restraint. If you ignore these nudges and continue deeper into attachment without clarity, confusion may increase and emotional turbulence may follow. I do not threaten you, but I lovingly reveal consequences so that wisdom can guide your steps. Attachment without alignment often leads to disappointment that could have been avoided through patient discernment. I desire for you peace that remains steady long after excitement fades. You are not losing love by stepping back, because true love does not vanish when boundaries are established. If he responds to distance with anger or manipulation, That response will confirm that attachment was rooted in control rather than respect. If he responds with growth and accountability, that growth will become visible over time without pressure. Either way, your obedience will bring clarity rather than regret. What if abundance could be activated from within your own mind through a powerful sound frequency once kept in classified files? Specialists say this signal naturally draws opportunity and financial independence, and many people are already applying it. Click the link in the description and comments now and switch on this hidden brainwave today. Trust that I am not withholding happiness from you, but protecting it for the right season and the right companion. The future I am preparing carries stability, mutual respect, and shared devotion that will strengthen your walk with me rather than distract from it. I see the days ahead, and I know which paths lead to joy and which lead to unnecessary pain. My guidance flows from love that desires your flourishing in every dimension of life. Remain anchored in my presence, because closeness with me sharpens your discernment and quiets the noise of emotional confusion. The more you seek me, the clearer everything else will become, and decisions that once felt heavy will begin to feel peaceful and certain. You are not standing at a crossroads because you lack love, but because you are learning to recognize the difference between affection and alignment. The man I have cautioned you about represents more than a person, because he symbolizes the old pattern of settling for potential instead of waiting for proven character. I am closing the door to repetition so that your future will not resemble your past in hidden and painful ways. There have been relationships before where you overlooked small concerns because you hoped time would fix what discipline and surrender never addressed. You gave patience where boundaries were needed, and you offered understanding where accountability should have been required. This pattern did not come from weakness, but from a heart that believes in redemption and sees beauty in broken places. Yet I am teaching you that wisdom must walk beside compassion, because without wisdom your kindness can be misused. The man before you now carries charm that feels familiar, and familiarity can create a false sense of safety, when in truth it simply mirrors past emotional cycles. Familiar chaos can feel comfortable because it resembles what you already survived, yet survival is not the same as thriving. I desire for you more than survival in love, because thriving requires stability, trust, and shared responsibility. Your future cannot flourish in soil that has already proven unstable. Type Amen. There is also a deeper layer to this warning that touches your spiritual sensitivity, because you are not only emotionally intuitive, but spiritually perceptive. You sense shifts in atmosphere when someone enters your space, and you notice when energy feels heavy rather than light.